Hey folks, how y'all doing? I'm Ant Pruitt. Welcome to another weekly hangout on there with the smartphone photographers community. We get together and call this thing Point and Shoot. This is our weekly hangout to talk about different tips and tricks that'll help make you a better smartphone photographer. We always walk around with our trusted smartphones in our pockets, but most of the time we take some really subpar photos with these great cameras. I mean, you got all of these megapixels in your pocket and you still wind up with a blurry selfie and a blurry food shot. Let us show you how we can fix that stuff for you. Tonight we have some of our moderators in here with us, and we're going to get together and just talk about a few things here and there from the community. And we're going to also take a look at our challenge that we have for each week for all of our community members. So let me allow these guys to introduce themselves. We'll start up in the frigid area of Maine with Mr. Joey Kelley. How you doing, brother?
How appropriate. I just sneezed.
Great timing, Ant Pruitt.
Yeah. Ironically, it's 47 degrees outside right now.
47? That's hot.
That's hot for us, but we had a frost last night.
Jeez.
Yeah. This is the time of year that the temperature up here fluctuates wildly. Some days we have these nice, quote-unquote Indian summer days up in the 50s. It's beautiful. Other times it makes you wish you were never born because it feels like parts of you are going to freeze off going out to check the mailbox. It's, because right now we're in that weird transitional period. Not everybody's broken out their heavy winter clothing yet.
Not yet.
So you're in 4 layers of summer weight stuff, and you're chattering, and you're like, give me a hot chocolate, please, before I die.
4 layers of T-shirts.
Yeah. So between that and actually having a couple of weeks of really busy work, I apologize to the community. I've been slacking 2 weeks in a row. I've not gotten a single photo into a challenge. But I'll still tell the rest of the people why their photos aren't good enough. So there we go.
Yeah, that's not like you, Mr. Kelley, but again, life happens, and again, all of us here have full-time jobs or to some capacity. I don't know about everybody in the community, but most of us are working adults, and we got to do what we got to do to take care of business. And sometimes we're not able to shoot. I'm the dadgum owner of this community, and I've had weeks like that, and I can't shoot. So it happens,
Well, this week you get a pass because you're setting up your new studio and your new digs.
Oh, my gosh. That's been – we'll come back to that. Appreciate you joining us, as usual. And also, thank you for hosting last week in my absence due to me being sick and also trying to move at the same time. So, thank you. Well,
we've all known that you've been sick in the head for years, so it's just nice to know that the body caught up.
Okay, so you do see this right here, right? Okay.
My chances of ever getting any of your barbecue sauce just went downhill.
Yeah, keep it
up, it's a pleasure to handle to help out, and always glad to help. And because I do enjoy this community more than anything else I think I do on the internet. It's fun and it's creative, and if nothing else, then I can talk to Mike off air about train crap.
Nerds.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we'll go down to Texas, where it's finally fall. My man, Mr. Michael King. How you doing, brother?
Yeah, it was not too bad today. It was up near 80 right now.
Shut up.
That's the fall in Texas, folks.
No, it's near 80. Right now, we're at 61. We're supposed to be down in the 40s before night. But this weekend, we're going to have our first frost. And then next week, over Thanksgiving, we're going to have our first freeze.
Wow. And then it'll be back to 90 the following week.
No, we'll finally, it'll start moderating quite a bit. And with El Nino, they're saying we're going to be in for a wet and very cold winter. So we'll probably get back to where our normal winter is, high in the 60s, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Cry me a river.
High in the 60s, sometimes mid-60s, lows in the upper 30s.
That's so funny. All right. Well, thank you again for joining us, my man. It's always good to see you.
Anytime. I enjoy it.
And appreciate you hanging out with Joey last week, keeping him company on there.
Someone had to do it.
I tried bringing my teddy bear into the hangout, but he just wasn't very conversational.
Oh my gosh. No, please don't do that. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this little hangout on there, the little nitty-gritty, if you will. First off, my apologies and thank you to everybody in the community for the support. Last week I was ill and had stinking vertigo. I don't wish that on anybody. I mean, I'd rather had the flu than the vertigo. You know what I mean? But not only that, I moved to a new residence here. I'm no longer in Chateau Ghetto Studios. Now we're here in, I guess you say, Palacio de los Pruitts. Nicer place, bigger space here.
And, I dare you to say that again.
Palacio de los Pruitts.
Wow. Yes, twice in a row. I'm impressed.
You shut it. But no, it's this is my little nook / office area, and it's a lot bigger for me, and I'm able to get all of my equipment in here. And it just took a little time to get things squared away with the move, and there was no way I was going to be able to record. But I'm good to go now, and it's not as tidy as I'd like, but it's up and running. So, but anyway, thank you for that. So now let's get into it. We had a winner last week, a repeat winner. My man Jose won the challenge, and it was based on, it was rainbow theme last time, right? When he won it?
Yes.
Yeah, it was rainbow. So being the winner of the challenge, he is able to propose the theme for a new challenge. This time he wanted to make it candid photography. Now, I don't know about you guys, but candid photography can be rather tricky when it comes to people you don't know, you know, because of all of the stuff that's been going on in the world today regarding your privacy and online privacy and whatnot. People tend to get a little leery about you taking photos of them. You know, I've had a situation myself. I can remember about 2 years ago, I believe, we had a challenge that was based on panning, okay, taking your camera and panning in the shot and snapping the shot. So I was down over there in Chateau Ghetto, and it's just cars going up and down the street. And so I was trying to take photos of the cars and panning, you know. It was a pretty decent challenge. And there was one point in time, one of the cars went up the street, turned around, came back, and asked me what I was doing. And I said, I'm just out here taking pictures. And they said, did you take a photo of my car? And I said, I probably did. And it was like, can you please delete my car? And I'm okay. You know, me personally, I didn't see any harm in it because there wasn't any identifiable information in it. There was no license plates. You couldn't see their faces. All you saw was a standard car. But I respected their wish and I deleted the photo. You know, so we have to be careful with stuff like this. But then there's the flip side of it. I can remember Mike Sweeney. He's another one of our moderators and community members. I can remember him going to, I think it wasn't Comic-Con. Might have been Comic-Con out in California one year. And he's walking around and looking at all of the attendees and their great costumes and whatnot. And there were some people that were dressed up as the Walking Dead. And they were really, really, really good. But they were leery about, you know, people coming up and talking about it unless they were dealing with promotions and whatnot. He walks up with this iPhone and they stopped because they saw the iPhone as harmless. You know what I mean? He didn't come up there with this big DSLR and, you know, he didn't come up looking like TMZ or something like that. So at the same time, we can have privacy issues, and then we can have issues of comfort. Well, I guess it's not an issue, but then we can have people that are a little more comfortable because it's a smartphone. Either way, use smart judgment. In short, is what I should have said.
If you don't mind, Ant, a little bit, just because I've done some research in this as a professional photographer, it comes up every once in a great while. One of my other photography forums, someone will say, can I be ejected from a piece of property for doing this? And the answer is maybe.
Right.
Now, of
There's
course,
a
your
few
local
variables in that.
Yeah, your local laws may vary. So what I'm speaking to is U.S. law.
Uh-huh.
Let me ask you a question. Have you ever wondered how the paparazzi manage to still be in business after all of the crap that they have shot? The answer is that they know the law,
Yep.
and they stay within the law.
Yep.
The law and your morals, well, that's two different things, but they stay within the law. And the law says in the U.S. that if you can be seen from public property, you can be photographed, and there is nothing you can do to restrict it.
Yep.
So that's, and it's not that you have to be on public property, it's that you can be seen from public property. And that's the distinction. So this is why you've got stars in Hollywood building homes with 25-foot walls and building them, 2 miles away from the road, because they know that no idiot on the face of the planet is going to have a camera with a good enough setup that they're going to reach 2 miles, get any kind of picture out of it, and be able to sell it.
Yep. You're 100% right, man. And that was some of the things that should have been addressed before you went out to take these candid photos. And again, it's there's the issues of the law. Well, not issues. There's the concerns of the law, and then there's the concern of morality. Because me personally, I not too long ago I took a shot of some high school students sitting next to me in the coffee shop, or maybe it was Dunkin' Donuts. They were sitting next to me, and I was working on some stuff. And normally I can tune a lot of my environment out, but I couldn't tune them out. They were just chattering. They were little teenage girls, and they were doing teenage girl chatter, and it was driving me nuts. And I felt like, you know what, I can at least get a photograph out of this for something for me to work on, since I'm being tortured like this. So I shot a photo of them sitting right next to them. I don't know if they even saw me do it, but at the same time, when I went to process that shot, I made sure I blurred their face ever so slightly, because I don't want them finding that picture online and then coming back and hunting me down for some legalities.
To talk about what you were saying about Mike Sweeney's example, the problem with an event like that is that you're not in public property.
Yeah.
You're in publicly accessible property, and there's a legal distinction. And when you go to an event center, pick anything, town hall, town hall might be a bad example, but your local Kiwanis Club, your local Masons Club, if you're in there, at the local Masons auction or something, and you're on private property, you've got a right to be there because you either paid or were freely let in. But that doesn't mean you can take pictures, because you're not on public property, you're on publicly accessible property. So there is a distinction there. And so a lot of these things get very gray and fuzzy. My rule on this sort of thing is, quite honestly, don't take the picture if you're concerned about the legalities.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean be gun shy about it, but at the same time be conscious that there may be consequences for you.
If your spidey senses go off, for a lack of a better term, don't hit the shutter. Just don't.
Yep.
All right. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of these shots. We didn't get as many photos in this time, but there's some good ones in here. There's about 8 shots or so. We won't take a look at them all because of time. We had to get started late because my computer decided to croak and I needed to reboot. So, but anyway, we'll go ahead and do a screen share and we'll look at some of these candid photos. All right. So let me first close that. All right.
Where's the yellow eye that I'm supposed to look into because I'm on candid camera?
No, that's not happening. Not here. All right, you guys see my screen?
No. Yep. Yeah.
All right, so let's take a look at one. Heck, I'm going to pick on myself. Or allow you guys to pick on me. Because I haven't been able to share in a little while, so dadgummit, I got one out now. Okay, my first shot here. Again, in the theme of moving to a new residence, one of my children had to go to a new school because of the move. And fortunately, the new school is within walking distance, so we walked to school, and this was his first day, and I'm just sort of looking around at the scenery because it's a pretty area as far as all of the fall foliage and whatnot, and I just thought it was I thought it looked right. And then number one, he's my child, so I can take pictures of my child. Dadgummit. So I shot this photo. I cropped it down because what I wanted to capture was just the idea of I'm walking to school. I purposely kept the buses in there because that may not have looked like a school to you if the buses wasn't there. I adjusted the contrast and the shadows a little bit so you could try to see that he's walking with the backpack on, again, to prove that, okay, maybe he's going to school and not just some kid walking around in a hood. But that was my whole idea and my whole thought process on this one. I made it in black and white. Had no idea other people were doing black and white. Well, mine is more grayscale. But I made it grayscale and cropped it down and tried to play on the sidewalk leading up to this hallway here. Put a little grain on it to make it look worn a little bit. I don't know if you can tell on your screens, but you can see some of that grain here up in the sky for sure, and a little bit right along in there. And then that's it. And I use a combination of Lightroom on the desktop and Snapseed, I believe. But have at it, folks. Who wants to go first? Give me your critiques.
Well,
all at once.
Well, I was going to say, I see what you're doing with the green, but to be brutally honest, I absolutely hate adding green to photos.
All right. Why is that?
Because for so many years I have strived to eliminate it from my photos.
Yeah.
And I cannot bring myself to add it back in when it wasn't there artificially.
I have those moments too, Joey. I mean, I'm the first guy that will run down to the denoise option inside of my editor. That's the first thing I'll look at. Well, one of the first things. And I did denoise this. But yeah, at the end of this thing, that was the last thing I did was put that little grain on there.
Yeah. I like. Okay, here's what I like. I like the stark, almost cold feeling that I get from the photograph. It feels very, well, for lack of a better word, depressing. And I like that it evokes that feeling in me, because that means that you've done a good job. You've told the story. You've embarked on it. I can tell that it's a candid because you've caught this person in mid-step, which is not a natural position to stop.
Right.
So that's a good timing, whether it was accidental or intentional. It worked out. I like the cold feeling, but here's where I don't like it.
Let's hear it.
To me, cold as first day of school should not be cold. First day of school should be joyful, full of opportunity, hopeful, a nice, warm experience.
Yep.
This feels cold, clinical, and depressing.
Yep. But then there's this one adjective here. New school. Sometimes that's a hard transition for people. True.
Yeah, you have a point there. I stayed within the same school system for my entire, right up through high school, all the way from kindergarten, so I really never had that school swapping experience. So I mean, now, granted, there were movements within schools, but we were always within the same class, so it was the entire class moving, so it wasn't just me.
Right.
What's so funny about that, Mike?
Well, let's see. I went to school, and when I started school, I started in New Orleans. Then went to school in London for 2 years. Back to New Orleans, New Jersey, then Texas.
Military.
No, Dad worked for an oil company.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You should have gone to New London, Connecticut, just to bring the new thing back into focus.
Anyway, carry on, sir.
Yeah, but that I guess that's my only comment on the subject would be that okay, yeah, fine. First day, new school, maybe I'm wrong, but to me, school should be full of opportunity and hope and education and learning, not cold and feeling clinical and apprehensive.
No doubt, because you're right. School typically starts at the end of summer. Well, or near the end of summer, and it's nice and bright and vibrant. You have all of the summer colors and the shorts and the big smiles and these excitement of going back to see your friends. And yeah, that's you're 100% right on that. But this wasn't that scenario.
Yeah.
Your thoughts, Mr. King?
Well, I'm going to pull a little bit of a Sweeney. I like the grain in it because it looks like an old black and or grayscale film picture, and that's kind of what it gives me to. But I like it. It's I don't look at it as being cold. I just look at it as being interesting.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't do it as a full black and white because I did work on the black levels there, but the problem was this bus would go away.
Right.
It would
I almost had this one. This one's a good candidate for the grayscale, and it's fine.
Yeah.
But I just kind of I don't know why, but I just kind of like this one.
Anything you would have tried to do differently?
Somehow or another, try to keep that, where that light is. If you look up, it's kind of blown out. I was trying to find a way to keep it from getting a little too blown out. But I guess then you lose the bus again.
Good call, because that was a pain in the butt. I actually cropped because of that. That was the first reason why I cropped, because it was really, really blown out because the sun was rising. Well, it had already risen, but it was 7:30 or so in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So where the sun is in the sky, and it was literally right there in your line of sight. And I tried to put the manual focus on him and hope that my shutter would be fast enough and make all the adjustments. And no.
You know what I might have tried to do? I might have tried kind of look like there's a driveway that goes around. I would have probably tried to get a little different angle.
And I even shot this from my hip level, waist level.
Right, but I would try maybe another a little bit further around that corner.
Mm-hmm.
And right, if you're going towards, you see how it kind of curves around. If you've gone that, you might have had a little less of the sun in your face.
The only way I would have had less sun would be to go this way.
Right.
Because you see the shadows are falling this way.
Mm-hmm.
So the sun is over here.
Dumb question, Ant. Did you try cropping it in from the left?
Yeah, and I did crop it in from the left a little bit because I liked the sidewalk, and I purposely cropped it down to where the sidewalk went straight to that corner like that.
Just humor
but
me
if I try to crop it a little more,
humor me for a minute and put the notepad, the right edge of the notepad, just off the left side of the left corner of the bus.
I think it takes too much away.
I like this shot, but I like the long path with this view.
Yeah.
But I like that too, though.
I'm not... Just a thought.
You might have also tried to crop a little bit closer to the building. Just that little strip up to that column. I know you were trying to get everything else. I would kind of move it around to almost the light pole, and just cut out the light pole, maybe. Right there. That would have cut a lot of that blowing.
Yeah, the blowing out would have gone away. Right here.
Right. The worst of it's still been blown out a little bit, but the worst of it would have been gone.
Yeah. Good point. All right. Put that back down there. All right. Well, thank you.
Cropping tool.
For my thank you for the votes, everyone. I don't get very many. Let's pick on another one.
You don't get very many.
No, you don't either. I'm in the club with you. All right, so let's take a look at another one here. We'll take a look at this color one, and then we'll look at our runner-up and our winner after this one. But I like this one in color. This is from my man, Mr. Tim McCusker, using what phone today? LG G4. No edits, none whatsoever. And from a candid standpoint, I could see this having having children and having dealt with my kids being in stores and even seeing other kids in stores that love to just pick up, and I don't even know if she picked these up, but it immediately made me think. She saw these on one of the little racks, picked them up, and decided to put her arms behind her back and see how good she looks. You know,
that looks pretty good on her.
I mean, that's just something that little kids do at that age.
I know. I used to do it too, but I'm just saying those glasses do look good on her.
Yeah, they look good on her. So I totally dig this shot as a parent. Differently, what I would have done differently on this, number one is the crop, and that's probably the only thing. Make it tighter. Make it more about her.
Yeah. Now that one I agree with you. If you would have cut, I would even crop to the very edge of those towels. Right there. Stop.
Make this shot more about her.
That would have been an excellent shot like that. It's okay as it is, but it would be even better if you had cropped it. I would have voted for it if you would have cropped it to those towels.
And then I had another thought, and I don't expect anybody to agree with it, but this is something that I've been playing with within my own photography when it comes to dealing with people, is a really, really low crop on people's foreheads from time to time. I thought about that. Probably doesn't work so much here.
Now that one doesn't work good. Some of them will work. That one does not. I don't think.
Well, I hate to be the buzzkill.
Let's hear it, buzzkill.
I am questioning whether this truly meets the definition of candid.
Is it candid or prepped?
Because here's the problem with the photo, and again, now I'm not being accusatory, Tim, so don't take this personally.
No, you good. We're talking about the definition of the challenge. I get that. Have at it, bro.
Just wondering, did the glasses go on and he went, oh, hold that for a second while I get my phone out? You just went from candid to posed.
Yeah.
And that's a whole nother thing. And the reason why I say that is that it looks a little too good. It's like, if this is a true candid, first of all, if it's a true candid, my opinion, it's got to be somebody else's kid. Because anytime that you're with your kid knows that you take pictures. So they might be expecting it. Kind of like my dog does. My dog actually, when he sees the phone come out, he actually kind of expects, oh, God, there's going to be another picture taken. And he's learned to know what that means, and that I want him to look at me or I want him to do something.
Well, what about those dogs and or children that sees the camera and decides to look away or decides to shy away? Because that happens a lot, too. And so a lot of times you have to do sort of a stealth mode. I have to do that with my middle boy. I don't have to do that now, but years ago, my middle boy, he was like that. He wasn't necessarily a camera ham like his other two brothers are. He was when he was younger, but once he got closer to
he learned.
He is now. He was like, the shoulders would raise up towards the ears a little bit. He'd get a little tense.
He learned.
It was just a comment that. We did say go out on the street and take a photo.
Yep.
And this is obviously in a mall or department store or something.
Yep.
So I don't know. I question. I wasn't there.
Consider that street. That's a public venue.
Well, here's the problem. Technically speaking, if you're inside of a shopping mall and you take a candid and the person doesn't want to be photographed, then they can eject you from the mall.
Right. Yeah. That's the big thing.
So
true, sir.
So there's that's what I'm getting at with the whole idea of if you're going to go out and do street photography, go do street photography, but be sure that you're on a freaking street.
Yeah.
And and again, that's the other thing that makes me go, okay, this is probably his kid or someone he's related to.
Yeah.
And therefore they might be expecting it. I don't know.
Okay. But when you get even out in the public, when you're taking pictures of kids nowadays with all the with all the perverts and stuff like that, people get a little uptight unless they know you.
It's true, bro.
Oh yeah.
And that's why a lot of times if they want to get a picture, something like that, they do use a relative or their own kid or a relative that know that you're not going to do anything inappropriate.
Right.
Yep.
And again, does that defeat the purpose of Candid or not?
Yeah.
I'm not taking a stance. I'm just putting it out there and saying,
Right.
Does it truly meet the definition of Candid? And again,
You ask a valid question, sir.
Right. Because again, as I said, with just the people, how uptight people get with people taking pictures of kids. Yeah, it's one of these things you just kind of have to be. Well, what do we do? Adults, they're fair game when you're out in the street, as long as you don't catch them in an even then you can catch them in an inappropriate position, but it's their fault. If you're in the public, if they're in the public and you're in the public, but now if they're on private property,
yeah, it's a different story.
That's a little different. But if they're out in a public venue, because I kind of know the rules from someone that I know.
Right.
Who's I'm not going to say who it is, but is in the on the radar of paparazzi, especially now.
Well, let's take a look at one more before we look at the winning shot.
I tell you that one of Annette is really nice.
Yeah, I like the net shot here. This is but I can't consider it candid, unfortunately.
I don't know if that's her or not. That's the thing. It might be.
That's her daughter.
Again, and that's also on a store. So
yeah. It's her
it.
daughter.
But now that is candid. And I like that. Now I like this shot.
I mean, this is hands down, in my opinion, one of the best examples that we got this week of a true street photo in terms of it is obviously not posed, because if you're going to pose somebody, they wouldn't be cantilevering over to the left.
And they wouldn't be all their cheeks pushed out. They're playing a trumpet.
Right.
They might be, but you're not gonna, you're gonna keep them straight up, right? I mean, this guy, I know he's in a sailor's cap, but he looks like he's listing real hard to starboard.
He took a torpedo.
Anyway, but I love the way it's cropped. I do like the way the black and white kind of pulls. This, I get a sneaking suspicion, is probably an extremely colorful spot. Just looking at the textures behind it and the variance, even within the black and white. So this is probably an extremely colorful picture, but when you take away the black and white, it really allows your eye not to get distracted by all the stuff in the background and really just look at the guy, trying to trumpet his cheeks right off. And I mean, I like it. It's a street performer. It's on the street. It's looking at the street. I mean, this doesn't get any more candid than this.
Well done. This shot is by Mr. Jose Magajales. I'm sorry, Jose.
Yeah,
I'm
I
really
apologize
sorry.
last week.
We butchered it. I didn't even try to say his last name because I knew I would butcher it.
I know it's Jose, and I know he uses a Galaxy S6 Edge, and I know he takes some damn good photos. So yeah, this one,
an excellent camera.
I can't touch it on this one. I can't touch anything as far as what I would do differently. I love everything about this one.
I even like the street.
The street of it, the point of view from everything. How many pixels is this? Oh, it's not as many pixels as I thought. But this thing is this is a beautiful shot.
The new Hangout stuff. I mean, the new Hangout or thing. They don't give you that anymore.
No, it's right there.
I'm talking about the new one.
Oh.
They don't give you that, and I wish I can go back. I hate the new one.
But I wouldn't do anything differently on this one, Jose. Really, really, really good job. Got about 6 votes on this one, which puts you in second place. So now let's take a look at our winning shot here. You want to talk about candid camera?
Yeah, that's candid.
Wow, Thomas Olson. What did you use on this one here? Some type of Samsung, apparently. I'm going to assume it's an S6. He doesn't say.
Hold on.
You got the
We'll
model number
reveal
there,
the
brother.
Google here in a moment.
But yeah, this shot here, he tells a story about this being a couple sitting, having their latte or what have you, and most of the time,
Edge.
this is the
6S Edge. Oh, that's a good camera. That's a new one. That's the latest one.
So he talks about the couple sitting there having their beverage, but most of the time they were sitting there kissing and smooching and making out and all of that. And fortunately, he's able to take his bench that was sitting across from him and frame this thing up perfectly with the bench and the table here. I mean, it is a perfect picture frame. If you were to just take all of that away,
Yeah.
This is so well done.
It would right there. That ruins the shot.
But no, I just like the way that he had this additional frame here, in my opinion.
Right.
I like it. I love it this way. But
It's
I like
excellent.
the fact that he used the extra elements around him to frame everything up. And it is just candid. It's caught in the moment. She's sitting there with her mouth open as she's getting ready to speak or had just said something or what have you. This is not staged. This is not, someone posing. This is a day in the life in the coffee shop with Thomas Olsen. It's a little bright. I would have taken the whites down just a hair, but I don't know how that would have affected this foreground here.
I think right there, I think I wouldn't have tinkered around any more with the contrast or the whites or anything, because it would have taken away from the other stuff, because I just think you would have lost a lot of detail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
this was an excellent shot.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts, Mr. Kelley?
I like it. I voted for it. I think it is an excellent example of candid. My only comment, of course, Thomas is not in the U.S., so I'm applying U.S. mentality on legalities to something not shot in the U.S. So forgive me, Thomas, if I'm way off base. But over here, the trains are not public property; they're private property, and this is one of those gray areas.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I would have pulled the trigger on it for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
That having been said, great shot.
Okay.
I think
Even
one of the things that
said,
makes it for me, huh?
Even with that said, he did it in sort of a ninja style, if you will. But
also he did it in a way that it wasn't obvious, and made them aware of him.
But my biggest concern is, can these people be identified from this
Probably.
photo?
Well, she probably could.
I mean, I think I don't think there's like 100% chance that they could be identified. I like the odds on this one. But go ahead,
and you raise a point, and you do. But I think one of the things that I like most about the shot, the framing is definitely a good part of it. But one of the things I think that makes it for me is the fact that you can literally draw a line between the center of their eyeballs, and they are, bam, fascinated with each other.
Yes. A story, Joey. It's a story.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. Is that? But you can see the passion. You can see it in their eyes as they're looking at each other. They are just intense on each other, and there is nothing else in the world that is any more important than those two of them, than the two of them to each other. And that's awesome, and that gives me hope for the world that there's some geeky girl out there that's going to do that for me.
That's what's up, brother.
Yeah. I have checked. Let's see, where have I checked? I've been all around the state. At this point, I'm looking at women's penitentiaries and insane asylums.
And you know what they say, you got a snowball's chance.
Yeah.
Hope alive.
But so did the last Monday, a certain Houston team had a snowball's chance to beat the Bengals.
And they did. That was a heck of a game. What a heck of a catch from a Clemson Tiger. But I digress. All right. So anyway, Mr. Thomas Olsen, great dadgum shot, man.
And you're on the clock.
So by winning the challenge, you are now tasked with coming up with a new challenge for the community. If you have any issues getting that challenge set up, just let me know. Ping me. I'll be notifying you, here in the community shortly to let you know that you're on the clock. But yeah, this is a good shot, my man, and congratulations to you. All right.
Well done.
So now let's turn off screen share. Okay. And there's my camera. I should look at it, not my screen. Next up, I wanted to briefly touch on a few things. First, let's take a look at the wonderful world of Lightroom. We've talked about Lightroom a couple times here these last few hangouts, but Lightroom had a nice update to come through. It may have started coming out a few days ago, but I personally got the update notification today. Now, in this last update, they changed the way some of your workflow was when you want to import your photos to begin developing them and managing them and whatnot. It was a certain way of doing it, and it seemed to be fairly efficient. But with that last update, it totally borked that, and it almost went through a process of re-indexing your catalog of photos. And I'm not as prolific with my camera as some of these other photographers in the community or other professionals out there. I only had roughly 2,000 photos to go through. And whenever I went to import one photo or 10 photos or 20 photos to start working on them, Lightroom would literally just sit there and just and twiddle its thumbs and count out and go through and figure out what was already imported and then tell me, yep, you've already imported, and move on to the next file and do the same thing. And then it says, oh no, this is a new one, so let me put a flag here. And it was just a nightmare to watch how slow this program would act just to pull in your new stock of photos. And everybody in the forums were complaining about it. No one seemed to be happy about this feature at all. But this time, the new update fixes that. It takes us back to the old way of importing.
Yep.
And when I went to use it this morning, it was just like that again. It was beautiful. I put whatever photos I wanted to work on in the directory that I have designated, hit import. It was there. I loved it. Mm-hmm. It was so nice to have that back.
You notice, look at my screen.
Yeah.
There is.
And the UI is still the same. So much nicer now.
Yeah. Of course, this now, I don't know what it looks like. I don't know if Adobe keeps their UI the same on the Mac as it does Windows, but this is the Mac version.
Yeah, it's the same.
And here goes the beach ball.
Yeah, it's the same.
Cause see, here's one of the things they changed on the last one. I did not like where all this stuff right in here, and they put it back. Which
mine was always there for all of the highlights and split toning and stuff.
Right,
mine was always there.
But it did it in a different way.
Really?
Yeah, right here, especially. See, I use the lens correction a lot.
Yep. I do that
They changed that a little bit on the last one, and this one's a lot better.
Huh, that's exactly how mine looks right now, and that's how it's looked for a little while. I guess there was a slight difference.
Okay, that's in the develop mode, and of course, the actual library. I don't have too many in here because I used to use Aperture all the time, and then when Apple pretty much said Aperture is now being discontinued, I switched over to Lightroom.
Right.
But I used to use Lightroom for a long time, and Aperture got really good, and then I started using Aperture all the time, and then when they said, okay, it'll run in El Capitan, but we can't guarantee it's going to run on any further. I said, okay, it's time for me, because I do not like photos. For a professional type finishing or editing photos, I'm just put it bluntly, it sucks. It sucks bad.
It's just time to move on from it, brother.
Right. So I went to Lightroom. I went back to Lightroom. I started off with Lightroom 3 or something like that, And then aperture finally caught up and got better. Then I started back with Lightroom 5, and now I'm on Lightroom CC when they did the Creative Cloud, and that's the best with that for the photographer version. $9 you get a month. You get Lightroom, all the updates, and Photoshop, the full Photoshop with all the bells and whistles.
Yep, good stuff. But that was the update that I wanted to mention. So if anybody's watching this and they have Lightroom subscriptions, do not be afraid to update this time. It's all good. All right.
I'll be back in the. I got it. I was doing the famous. Okay, come on. I'm trying to get.
Why are you getting yourself square? We're going to take a look at one of our members' shots here. I want to highlight a shot from Nicole H. She shared this in the community just recently, and it just got a lot of attention from the members in there, and rightfully so. It was pretty daggum sweet. So let me pull her shot up real quick and talk about it. All right, full screen. Boom. All right, I saw this shot, and the first thing that came to my mind was turn and snap. I don't know how you guys may interpret this photo, but Nicole took this shot with her Galaxy S6. She's been using the Galaxy line for a little while now, and I think she's got a good feel for that camera. But I thought this was some creative thinking going on and coming up with a very nice photo. You got the color wheel from the season of fall, and I like the idea that she really tried to make sure one particular leaf was standing out in this shot. But the fact that she can turn and get this whole swirl effect with it's fairly neat and uniform too. With a smartphone, that's pretty daggum cool. The thing is, a lot of folks with smartphone cameras, we don't, and I'll say we because I suffer from this too, we don't think about creativity using our smartphone cameras. We just think about snapshots, But I like the fact that she put some creative juices in this shot here. She used Photoshop Express, adjusted the clarity, sharpening, defogging, reducing exposure, reducing highlights, and adjusting the contrast. She was quoted to say, "I used regular mode and turned the phone fast as I snapped the photo. I was trying to get that one bright leaf in the center of the swirl, but this was as close as I could get as I got to it." That's pretty daggum clever. What are you guys' thoughts on this photo?
It makes me motion sick.
Yeah, and I know all about that, my brother.
I know what you're talking about, because when I was growing a kid, I had something that was a virus that every time I stood up, I got dizzy and threw up. So I know how you feel.
So
I was just thinking, if you'd looked at that shot, Ant, while you had your vertical, would it have looked straight?
That's a good question. It probably would have.
Then you would have been like, "What the heck's she talking about? I don't say it."
It probably would have. Now just think about it, man. But no, I just like I like her premise on this, because we see in general so many bad photographs out there that are, I shouldn't say bad, less than spectacular photographs from smartphones. When at least the three of us know, the sensors on these things may be small, but these optics in general are really daggum good and can pull out some crazy nice photos. So kudos to you, Nicole, and I appreciate you being a member in this community and showing stuff like this to the other community members to say, challenge yourself a little bit, try something different. Don't just go out there and snap something. I'm guilty of shooting landscape photography all the time because that's what I do. I love it. I should push myself a little differently with my photography. Try something new. Try something like this here, even if it makes me dizzy. All right. Any other thoughts on this, gentleman?
I like that. And as you can see on mine, we're having fall.
Oh my gosh.
That's about as fall as you're gonna get here.
Lord.
One other little quick thing that we've touched on earlier Hangouts, and I think it's one of Ant's favorite quotes. The camera that is the best one is the one that you have.
Yep.
And recently, I coined a new term, dog-anniversary.
Dog-anniversary.
Yeah, it was my 1-year anniversary of adopting my dog.
Chevy.
It was the 17th. So I went through the photo collection and I pulled out all the good photos, of the dog.
Right.
And I posted the video. It's a 2-minute video. It's on our smartphone community. You can go look at it. It's also publicly shared on my YouTube channel, if you're really curious. And what I came to realize was how many of those were shot with the smartphone. It was an incredible percentage.
Mm-hmm.
I think there are only 2 that come to mind that were not shot with the smartphone out of approximately 30. No, more like 25.
That says a lot. Is this the one that you had with you, right?
Well, not only is it the one that I had with me, but I wasn't afraid to use it, and I felt that it was going to give me a good enough product that I wasn't going to be ashamed to show it to anybody.
Right.
Ironically, the first shot is the first picture I took of him, which was taken with my other phone, which I actually am not proud of, but I included it because it was the first picture I ever took of the dog. But you can also see the progression. You can see there's a switchover where the shots are a little bit fuzzy, and then bam, the new phone kicks in, and wow. They're a lot better. It's not necessarily as noticeable on YouTube, but when you look at them full screen, it's like, oh, that looks kind of, hello.
Somebody upgraded.
Yeah, but yeah, it just goes to show for me personally, as somebody that has always had a couple of cameras ever since they became a serious photographer, that the smartphone has truly become my, if you will, everyday camera.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the SLR gets brought out on special occasions.
Yeah. Well, get ready for this. The rumors are this thing next year will have a camera in it.
Oh, no.
Jeez. Such a waste. That's such a waste.
That's another thing to watch out for.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Yeah.
And I'm not going to get it because they say, when they put that camera in it, the Sport will go up to almost $800. The watch will go up to $1,000. The edition will go up to $1,500. $15,000.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, when you can buy 3, decently performing laptops for the price of 1 smartwatch, it is time to reevaluate your technology priorities.
Lobotomy.
Well, this one's going to stay with me for quite a while. I have 3 watches.
Lobotomy.
One of them is when we get off the air, I'll tell you how I got it, but I do have a edition.
Nice. All right. Well, we're going to get up out of here. Sorry for running a little bit long this evening and my previous technical difficulties. But this has been fun chatting with you guys this evening and going through the challenge and talking about what we've seen in the community. So I'm going to allow you guys to sign off and let everyone know where we can find your particular work. So let's start with you down in Tejas, Mr. King.
Well, community-wise, I can be found on Flickr, Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Michael King 4023, or just Michael King. And the Saturday, I can be found out at the Embassy, I think it's Embassy Suites, with Dr. Mack at our Houston area Apple users group. Bob Levitas is coming in.
All right, Hog. It's good to see you as always, man. Appreciate you hanging out with us.
Oh, yeah, I love it.
And lastly, my man, Mr. Joey. Kelley, where do we find you and all of your works, my man?
Best place to start for me is Joey, Joey, Kelley, KELLEY.com. From there, you will find everything, my computer business, my photo business, my life online, as I say. And you'll find links to my Facebook, my Google+, I even think I got my Twitter on there for the, 2 times a year I tweet. Yeah, I do all my talking in Hangouts, not on Twitter. I can't get everything. I can't get my full awesomeness into 120 characters.
140.
But anyway, so start at Joey, Joey, Kelley, KELLEY.com. And I am actually thinking, after tonight's conversation, of launching a new website called grainsucks.com. And maybe I can get you and Sweet moderators.
Yes. You ain't right, man. Start it up. As usual.
Because he's up in the cold north, that's why. His brain's frozen.
Appreciate you always, my man. All right. Lastly, myself. I am Ant Pruitt. I can be found here on the wonderful world of Google+, at Ant Pruitt. Or you can look me up on Twitter at Ant_Pruitt. Or just like Mr. Kelley there, go to the website, antpruitt.com, and you'll see a few link backs to all of the things that I have my hands on, such as my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/AntPruitt, and the community website, smartphone-photographers.com. Definitely check that website out. It has all of our reruns on there, dated all the way back to the very first Hangout. And boy, have we come a long way. But yeah, smartphone-photographers.com is the website. If you're interested in joining the Smartphone Photographers community, give one of us a shout through any of our social channels, and you can request an invite from one of us. And what's going to happen is we're going to see if you're going to be a good fit. Not to sound all snobby and snooty, but we don't want spammers in this community. You know what? Let me rephrase that. I don't want spammers in this community.
No, let's rephrase it again. We don't want spammers. I don't want them either.
I'm just going to be straight up. I don't want spammers in the community. I don't want people that's just doing nothing but selfies. I don't want people that's just doing food shots. You know, you may have your niche when it comes to your photography, but this community is about expanding and growing and learning some other stuff to try to do, like what we saw from Nicole H. You know, if you were to look her up online, you're probably going to see a lot of photos with the big, heavy Caterpillar machining equipment and whatnot. But on the flip side of that, you're going to see some beautiful macro photography. You're going to see some split toning. I mean, she's got the full gambit, if you will. And that's what this community is about. So if you're interested, request an invite, and we'll see about getting you in there. Be sure to click the like button and click the subscribe button so this can be shared with your social media friends and family. All of the support is greatly appreciated. Be sure to check back with us next Thursday at about 9 p.m. Eastern time.
Next Thursday.
Well, next Thursday is a holiday, so it'll be a week from next Thursday because I'm not hanging out on a holiday. We've tried that before. No, not happening. But
I was thinking about hanging out by myself.
So it's just another.
I'm not going to go there. I'm not going there.
But no, we'll have a hangout 2 weeks from now, and about 9 p.m. Eastern, considering how well the technology goes for me. If it decides to slow me down, then we'll adjust accordingly. But thank you all for watching and popping in tonight and checking out this live stream. Be sure to check out the website for the edited version, cleaned up version, if you will, so you can get a better look at the photos that were shared tonight. And we'll catch you guys on the next go around. Peace.